Hi, and welcome to our Tram Tour series. My name is Amy DePalma, and I'm here to show you all of the hidden gems of Boyd Hill Nature Preserve. And we're here at the Willow Marsh Boardwalk. Now this is one of my favorite places here at Boyd Hill Nature Preserve. When you're on this boardwalk, you can see things like alligators, wading birds, water snakes, turtles, and even fish. Now this is a great spot for you to come and observe the wildlife here. If you sit here quietly enough, you can see really cool animal behaviors from alligators, maybe catching some prey, or birds going down and eating or roosting or even trying to make calls to mate with each other. So this is a great hot spot for you to come out and observe a lot of wildlife here at Boyd Hill. So one of the first questions people ask us here at Boyd Hill Nature Preserve is if there's alligators here. And the answer to that question is yes, there are alligators here at Boyd Hill Nature Preserve. And most likely, if you're in Florida near fresh water, whether it's a marsh or a lake or a swamp, or a pond, most likely there are alligators there. Now their next question is usually, is it safe to be on the boardwalks or around alligators? Yes, as long as you stay on our trails and on our boardwalks and not try to touch the alligators or try to feed them, you are totally safe to be around these alligators. Now some may ask, what is an alligator? So an alligator is a large reptile that looks kind of like a lizard, but it's very large. It has 4 legs, a strong tail that they use to help swim, and a large jaw that they use to catch their prey. Now these alligators eat things like small mammals, fish, birds, and even turtles. So just to show you how strong those jaws are, they can crush through turtle shells. Now alligators, most people think are really scary, but they actually play a super important role in our ecosystems. Without our large predators like the alligators, our ecosystem and our food chain is out of balance. So it's really important that we protect our alligators here at not only Boyd Hill Nature Preserve, but all throughout Florida. So have you ever been to Boyd Hill Nature Preserve or even just driving around our wetland habitats around Florida and ever wonder what this stuff was hanging from the trees were? Well, we call this Spanish moss. Now, this is not Spanish and it's actually not moss. It is an epiphyte and it will grow and hang on our trees like an air plant. Now, this is actually part of a reason for a lot of our old wives' tales around Florida. The first one I like to say is, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. Now the reason for this is because a long time ago, pioneers used to fill their mattresses up with Spanish moss. But they didn't know that Spanish moss housed a lot of insects like chiggers that can bite you and make you very itchy. So if you do not smoke or dry out this Spanish moss properly, you end up getting bites from those chiggers. So next time you hear of sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite, you can think of Spanish moss. If you're trying to make a fire, Spanish moss is the worst thing to put on your fire because it'll just create a lot of smoke. So a lot of people also ask, is the Spanish moss killing the trees? It's actually not killing the trees or harmful in any way. It uses the trees to get up closer to the sun to be able to photosynthesize and to survive, but it actually does not harm any of the trees. So it's totally safe to have Spanish moss on your trees. So another bird that you can possibly see around Boyd Hill Nature Preserve are our wading birds. Now these birds are really unique because they live in more of our wetland habitats, and they have a really cool adaptation that allows them to be able to walk in our shallow waters or on vegetation. All of their feet are really, really long, so they have long toes that are able to spread out and disperse their weight evenly so they can actually walk on our lily pads and our other aquatic vegetation. Now some of the wading birds that you can find here at Boyd Hill Nature Preserve are our egrets, like our snowy egrets or our gray egrets, and those birds are our large or small white birds that have black legs and sometimes actually have yellow feet, like the snowy egret. Don't walk in yellow snow, that's how I always remember it. We also have herons here, and those are very similar looking to our egrets. They are sometimes smaller and larger, but they usually are a grayish or a blue or sometimes green. But how to distinguish between a heron and an egret is looking at that leg color. So your herons have more of a brownish or a yellow leg versus your egrets who have a black leg. And lastly, another wading bird that you can find around here are probably some of the more noisy ones, and those are our common gallinules, or also known as common moorhens. And those birds are your black birds with the red face. Now, a lot of people are always quick to say, oh, look at that duck. Well, actually, it's not a duck, it's in its own species of gallinules. But if you were to, when I describe them, it's like if you took a duck and a chicken and you put them together, that's what these birds look like. So they have very duck-like body shape, but their feet are very long and skinny like a chicken. But they're very, very noisy. So this is a common sound that you can hear around our Willow Marsh Boardwalk or around our wetland habitats all throughout Florida. So keep an ear out for these noisy birds because it's something that you will most likely see out here. So if you're interested in coming on one of our tram tours, they are offered at 1 o'clock every day. There is a bit of an extra charge to go on our guided tours. It is $5 for adults and $3.50 for children, but it's a guided tour with either myself, a ranger, or an experienced volunteer, and they are going to show you these hidden gems of Boyd Hill Nature Preserve like the ones we covered today. So we look forward to having you here at Boyd Hill Nature Preserve and joining us for one of our tram tours.